Big difference outside, however. Let's bring in GOP strategist John Thomas, Democratic consultant Mac Zilber. So you saw what happened today. It's almost like, you know, there they were in New Mexico yesterday, there they are today. Can we expect, have you ever seen anything like this before, where every single one of his rallies, it almost seems like he brings out the anti-Trump people, and it leads to an escalation of almost violence at times.
Well, he is a pretty polarizing figure. His rhetoric has been polarizing from the outset, so it's not surprising. But look, this is also a standard tactic that we've seen in California from unions. When Meg Whitman ran for governor of California, teachers union organized protests almost everywhere she went to.
Well, these aren't unions, though, outside, are they?
I wouldn't be surprised if they were refunded.
These are people who are upset. I mean, we saw the same thing when George Bush was starting to take us to war. I mean, there were protests in every city. And I think that as this campaign ramps up, we're probably going to see more of this rather than less.
Yes, but is it organic protests, or is it, like you're saying, is it organized by a union or a political group?
Well, that's a question. I think last night in Albuquerque, when it got violent, I think that was organic. And those were thugs and criminals that decided to exploit a moment because there were television cameras there, and that was disgusting.
I think that every protest has people who are organizing it, so they're all on a spectrum of organic to inorganic. But there's a lot of organic rage and anger against Donald Trump. Now, that being said, that does not, under any circumstance, justify violence.
Where does that, I mean, what productivity is there in this? You know, you have people out there, they're actually, you know, speaking very vociferously at how they feel, but at the same time, you know, is there any positive out of it? Because if you agree with Trump's policies, it's not as if you're going to go out there and listen to these people or listen to what they're protesting about and change your opinion.
Well, that's the problem we have in America today, is that our country really is polarized. You know, you can find your niche, whether you want what news station you want to watch or what podcast you can listen, just your point of view. So I don't think these protests are effective, other than to remind the faithful that don't like Donald Trump as to why they don't like Donald Trump.
Well, and if we look at this on a global scale, I mean, we're seeing protest activity in a lot of European countries increase.
True.
And I think it's because we're all being exposed to these bifurcated media bubbles that we only see the views of people who agree with us. And I think that in Europe, the same thing's happening.
I find it interesting in New Mexico yesterday that Trump almost went after Susana Martinez, who today, the governor of New Mexico, who today had to respond to that. She says she's not going to be bullied into supporting Donald Trump, when Susana Martinez was actually named as a possible VP candidate for Donald Trump, first female Hispanic governor. And now he's almost saying in this rally that, you know, she's not effective.
I guess Donald Trump didn't get the saying that you catch more flies with honey, right? He doesn't get that at all.
It wouldn't be the first potential VP nominee that he slapped away, though.
This is just the, Donald Trump's got to be Donald.
Her down, so I guess it's not going to be her.
I know, it's just not Donald Trump's style. I think he felt that he came to town and she needed to genuflect to him, and she wasn't willing to do it.
Let's talk about Hillary, you guys, because today the State Department came out with a really damning report on it was bad. But is the American public listening?
You know, I think that if I'm an average voter, I already know that there's some controversy over Hillary's emails, and I can't sum it up in one sentence. And if I'm an average voter, this doesn't change that. I think that until and unless some kind of indictment happens, which it won't, I'm not sure that this type of report is going to change.
Well, I think the indictment might be wrong, but we'll see. But I think what it does is it reinforces Hillary's high negatives and her untrustworthy numbers. People think she's shady. This reinforces just another tale of her being shady. Look, her email service, whether or not she broke the law or not, she did it to avoid public records requests.
I think bottom line, if you think she's shady, you'll think she's shadier after reading this, and if you don't, then you won't. I'm not sure this changes many independent voters.
I think we're going after a small segment of that electorate.
These aren't necessarily her political enemies that are going after her.
No, it's their Obama appointees.
That's the new part.
That said that she essentially stonewalled, you know, when they asked her for her emails, she didn't give them willingly, waited a long time, and then when she did, they even say, even to this day, hasn't given all the emails. She says she's given it all out.
At the same time, the State Department also said that a long string of secretaries of state have skirted some of these rules, and they have, you know, suggested that there may be more of a systemic problem.
Everyone else broke the rules or broke the law. It's okay for me to break the law.
And she's running for president of the United States. This is bad, Mac. This is a really bad thing. We'll see if the indictment comes down the chain, but you're right. We're going after that small sliver of these swing voters, and we don't know what they're going to pay attention to. So if you're Hillary Clinton, you can't be thrilled about today's news.
Well, she won't even talk about it, apparently, because it didn't come up anywhere. So there was a lot of
she wants to avoid it. She wants to go back to Albuquerque last night.
Yeah,
I'm sure we'll hear it more on the Sunday talk shows. Lots of just a crazy day today when you see all of the candidates here just back to back to back to back rallies in California. It just shows how important that this state is.
Yeah, but well, what about Bernie? Hillary is completely disregarded him. She's campaigning against Trump, but he just keeps going and spending money.
And bringing in the crowds.
Right, absolutely. And what we're seeing in California because of that is that it's going to have a big effect down ticket because Bernie is turning out a higher number of Democratic voters. I mean, Democratic registration among early absentees is through the roof because of this primary.
Yeah. All right. Mac, John, thank you very much.
Guys.
Thank you.
It's
All right.
fun.
Yeah.